And welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I am Michael Buckhatcher. I am writing the ship today, and I'm with always my man, my brother from another mother, Billy Hatton. Billy, how are you doing today, man?
Doing all right. Happy New Year to you and your family. Man, let's start this year off with a bang.
Yeah, and definitely happy new year to everybody. And speaking of the New Year's, it is time for those New Year's Days bowls. We have the Outback Bowl, the PlayStation, the Fiesta Bowl, the Citrus Bowl, you have the Rose Bowl, and then you have the Sugar Bowl. All very intriguing games. So, Billy, we're going to go through these games, and we're going to do a quick, who do you got, what to look out for. So the first game up, starting at 12 o'clock here, just in Eastern time, about 3 or 4 hours. You have number 18 Mississippi State. They're 8-4 on the season, taking on the 8-4 Iowa Hawkeye team. Billy, who do you got, man?
I want to say Michigan State, but
Mississippi State.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry, not Michigan State, Mississippi State. But Fitzgerald, he's a hit, he's a miss. What are you going to get out of him? You don't really know. So I'm gonna go with Iowa. Iowa is a solid team. A lot of people really haven't watched this team. I'm not saying they're a juggernaut, but this is a good team that's unranked that a lot of people really don't know about because they don't really watch Iowa. So yeah. I'm gonna take Iowa.
Yeah, and they are a solid team when they show up, but you never know which Iowa team is going to show up. Are they going to be an Iowa team that struggle against Purdue, or are you going to come with the Iowa team that destroyed Illinois and they played Michigan State well? So with that being said, I'm going to go with Mississippi State because they seem to show up well every game. They've had a tough SEC conference. They've beaten number 16 Texas A&M. They've who else did they beat? I'm thinking here. They beat my Kansas State team, and they beat Auburn. So they can jump up to these high-ranked games and do well. So that's why I'm picking them on today's game. All righty here. So moving on to the next one here. I'm pushing the wrong buttons. My bad. Just 1 second. There it is. We have the Fiesta Bowl. We have number 11 LSU taking on a number 8 UCF team. Who do you got, Billy?
If they had Milton, this would be a different story for me. Right. I'm just not sure if they have enough at quarterback right now to take down LSU, who is probably going to be at full strength because a lot of their good players are still kind of young guys, so they kind of have no choice but to play in this game. You're going to have a few here and there, but I think without Mackenzie Milton, I just think LSU is primed to win this game. I think the streak of they got 23 or 24 straight.
Something like that.
I think that streak ends today. It'll be a minor miracle if they win today. It's not impossible. I just think without a quarterback against this team, against this defense, it's going to be tough.
The one thing UCF has gone for them is their quarterback did play in the championship game, and he played horrible in the first half, but then he came out and I think he threw 5 touchdowns in that second half. So they do have that going for them. He did get his feet a little bit wet, but I guarantee you, everybody on that college football committee right now are the biggest LSU fans. They want UCF to get destroyed today, and they want to be like, look, this is why we don't let you guys in the last 2 seasons because you can't even beat a.
And I think they will, Mike, too. Team. I think they will get kind of killed today, and it's not really their fault. Like,
yeah, that
who can really lose their starting quarterback and be down in the game, in the championship game by 15 or 20, and come back and win that game?
Mm-hmm.
But now, you're going to play LSU. It's a step up in competition from Memphis. I just don't think LSU play with them as long as a Memphis will. The better team is going to show up today. In the end, I think LSU will get it done.
Yeah, and if that game does get out to a 15 to 20 point game, I think LSU has the coaching ability, the player ability to put that nail in the coffin, so there won't be no second half comeback.
Agreed.
So moving on to the Citrus Bowl, you have number 14 Kentucky Wildcats, 9-3 on the season, take on a number 12 Nittany Lion team. They're 9-3 on the season. Billy, who do you got on that one?
I got Penn State. I think if Josh Allen was playing this game, I'm not sure. I thought I read a report as well Is Benny Snell playing in this game?
Yes. He needs 100 yards to break the SEC rushing record, I do believe.
Yeah, correct. Okay,
Yeah.
so I thought, all right. So without Josh Allen playing, I think that defense is going to be very, very vulnerable today. And I'm just not a believer in Wilson at quarterback because they're so dependent upon Benny Snell having a great game always.
Mm-hmm.
On offense, he's their kickstarter. So if you're counting on him to get it done every single time, Wilson can't really make throws by himself. Give me Penn State in this game.
Yeah, and as a Kentucky fan, I just want to put that out there just so you guys know I'm not making a biased pick here. Penn State is a very solid team. They got blown out by Michigan earlier this season. I think it was like 56-7 or 14. Like, it was a pretty ugly game. But then they played Ohio State close. They played Michigan State close. They beat Iowa. So like, they've been there in these high games. Kentucky, they are just, as our friend Matthew Lyle I say, they don't know how to win big games yet. Yes, they had a big game against Florida, but they lost against Georgia, lost against Tennessee. Like, they don't know how to put away those teams. And with that being said, I'm going to have to go with Penn State on this one. As a Wildcat fan, that does hurt me a little bit, but you got to pick with your gut, not your heart at the end of the day when you're picking these games. Next up, you have
Mike.
Hey man, I always try to make the correct pick, even though if my team, if it's my team
that
or
is
not.
True.
So next up, you have the Rose Bowl. The first time these two teams have met in the Rose Bowl. Actually, you have number 9 Washington. They are 10-3 on the season, taking on a Ohio State team 12-1 on the season. They are ranked number 6 this year. Billy, who do you got?
Mike, I'm just gonna be quite honest with you. I think out of all the bowl games we've seen so far, all the lopsided victories that we've seen so far, the Clemson 30-3, Alabama, even though that score didn't look like it, if you watch that game, that game was not even close, not even in reach for a minute there. Oklahoma just couldn't get that one stop they needed. But I think this one right here is going to be the most lopsided victory that we have to date. Ohio State and Washington. Dwayne Haskins is coming back to play in this game. I think he got something to prove. He's at 47 touchdowns. He's probably trying to hit 50. If he gets 500 yards or 420 yards this game, he'll be at 5,000 yards on the season. This game is going to be lopsided with Campbell and Dobbs. Listen, this team is ready. This team is mad that they didn't get a berth for the college football playoffs. Dwayne Haskins tweeted the eye emoji the other night when Notre Dame and Clemson was playing.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys from Georgia commented on it and said, well, they said the best 4 teams. I thought this was supposed to be the best 4 teams. These guys are upset. They're mad. Washington, it's not going to be close today. Ohio State in a rout.
So just to start off here, I am going with Ohio State here, but I don't think it's going to be as lopsided as you think it is going to be because with the emotions running high, this is Urban Meyer's last game. Haskins is possibly playing in this game to become the first number 1 overall pick, possibly. Just depending on how the cards fall in the draft and that kind of thing. But with that being said, they are going to come out with such a high emotion in that first quarter. They are going to be playing out of what they normally play, so they're going to make some mistakes. They are going to let Washington, maybe scoot for 60-70-yard run to start the game. But after that first drive, after the first quarter, Ohio State is going to show up. They're going to thump them, but it's not going to be a blowout. And historically, Pac-12 teams are horrible in big games, in these bowl games. I don't know why, but they just aren't very good for some reason. Moving on to the Sugar Bowl here, we have number 15 Texas 9-4 on the season, taking on another SEC team that should have, could have, would have been in. Number 5 Georgia. Who do you got, Billy?
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be another lopsided one. But the reason why I don't think this one is going to be as lopsided as Ohio State Washington, where I think Ohio State and Washington are kind of 2 comparable teams. But and this one I don't think I think Georgia is clearly the better team by miles. The problem is Texas can do something that a lot of these other teams in the Big 12 can't do, and that's control the clock, run the football. That's their bread and butter. They're not like the other West Virginia and all these Texas Tech, all these guys, Oklahoma that just throw the ball all around the field. These guys like to run. Chase Ellinger, he's going to be a big part of this offense today. Controlling the clock, keeping everything on base, on the ground. Humphrey, the big tall receiver. I like Georgia still. I just don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I know it's not going to be close. It's going to be one of those in-between games. I think Georgia obviously is the better team. I think they're going to pull it out. I just don't think this one may be as lopsided.
So I'm kind of thinking the same thing here. I'm thinking this is going to be that Alabama Oklahoma game that we saw last week, where like Georgia pretty much dominates the whole game, but the score doesn't really reflect it at the end of the game. Texas gets some late scores, pull within 14, maybe 7 points even, but you never get that sense that they are going to, win that game. And what is really intriguing about this game, Georgia is a 12-point favorite. Every time I've seen such a high point spread in this game, the underdog usually tries to show up, but I just don't think Texas has the firepower. Georgia is good. Jake Fromm is very, very good. I like him. So that's why I'm definitely picking Georgia in this game. It's going to be a close score, but Georgia's going to dominate it pretty much the whole game.
That's where I don't know if that's going to happen. Georgia really hasn't dominated any good team this year, really,
right,
outside of maybe Kentucky. That Kentucky game, I thought that just wasn't even close.
Very ugly.
The whole game. I think this Georgia-Texas game is going to be kind of similar to what the Georgia-Florida game is. Georgia kind of winning all game long, but Florida is right there the whole game. And then Georgia scores a late touchdown and busts it open. And I think that's how this game is going to be. To your point, Georgia is probably going to be in control of this game, the whole game. It's going to be, okay, Georgia won that game, But I think a late touchdown is really what's going to put it away. I think Texas is going to be right there. Texas can also put up some points. But I think Georgia, ultimately, I think they pull away at the end, late score.
So, from these 5 New Year's Day bowl games that we have, Billy, what game do you want to circle and be like, you know what, I'm going to sit down and watch this game? What game to you is the most intriguing?
This LSU UCF, and it's for 2 different reasons. All the other games are okay, Kent State, Kentucky, but yeah, that's pretty much a snore fest. Honestly, I'm not really a fan. Watching Ohio State, I said I think that was going to be a blowout. I'm going to watch that, and I'm interested to watch what Haskins is going to do. But I think the hype surrounding this UCF LSU game. Last year, UCF didn't get any respect. They go to the Peach Bowl. They beat Auburn. They claim themselves national champions. They come into this year. They go undefeated. They finish 8th in the college football playoffs. Now they got a chance to play another SEC school. LSU, a team that I don't think is very good, a team that I think the committee overhyped, a team that I think the analysts are overhyping, and a UCF team that I think is overhyped. So I just want to see what the hype is about. When they play each other, will UCF continue the streak of 25, or will it end?
Yeah,
so that's what I'm interested to see.
Yeah, I mean, that game would be a lot more intriguing to me if their quarterback he was in, but since he's not, I really don't care one way or the other. What I'm really wanting to watch is the Ohio State game and the Georgia game, just because I really want to see if these teams really deserved to be in there, and if I have to pick one of those 2 games, I think I'm going to pick the Sugar Bowl and watch that Georgia Texas game, because I for a long time thought Texas was going to sneak their way into the playoffs as well. I mean, they kind of stumbled against West Virginia and Oklahoma to end the year. So in reality, these are 2 teams that I thought could definitely make it into the playoff. And if it was an 18 playoff, I think they would both be in there at the end of the day. So I'm really intrigued to watch that game. Moving on to the NFL, Billy. The Steelers sat their leading wide receiver, Antonio Brown, second half of the game last week, or 2 days ago, I guess I should say, because he, quote, had a ugly conversation with Ben Roethlisberger. What are your thoughts on this?
Mike, I'm going to say this, Mike. The fact that he didn't play at all, we talked about this on Sunday, and we asked, was Antonio Brown going to play Week 17? And I said, there's no way he skipped Week 17 with a playoff berth on the line.
Right.
There's no way. And I think I'm just going to say this before I get into the Antonio Brown situation. I think Mike Tomlin has probably coached one of his final years in Pittsburgh. I said this at the beginning of the season as well. So, and I'm going to stick on that tune. When you got guys not showing up to work, Le'Veon Bell, when you got guys chattering amongst themselves, offensive line, Big Ben, when you got Antonio Brown and Big Ben arguing all year long, they haven't been on the same page all year long. This ain't the first time Antonio Brown has missed practice. He missed practice earlier in the year, and they tried to cover it up for him. Nobody even knew where he was, and Mike Tomlin tried to get up and say, well, oh, yeah, we knew where he was. So why did you find him if you knew where he was? This week, they kept saying Antonio Brown is hurt. Oh, he's getting tests done on this. He's getting tests done on this. That's all I've seen over ESPN. He's getting checks for this. He's getting checks for this. And now after the season, reports come out that it's because him and Big Ben got into an argument, and he skipped practice all week. He skipped team meetings all week, and that's the reason why he didn't play in the game. I think it's time for Mike Tomlin to go. I also think Antonio Brown has probably played one of his last few games in the Steel City as well.
So speaking on Mike Tomlin here, I'm going to go on record and say he is the most overrated coach out there. Yes, he has won a Super Bowl, but that Super Bowl was not his team. That Super Bowl that he won was Bill Cowher's team. So let's just get that out there. That Super Bowl, that was not his team. That's Bill Cowher's team. So Bill Cowher deserves his Super Bowl ring. So now that is out of the way, Antonio Brown, I think he is going to stay in Pittsburgh. I think Mike Tomlin is easier to get out there. We will touch on this later in the show, but if the Pittsburgh Steelers head coaching job comes open, that could very well be the hottest job out there, because you do have Antonio Brown, you do have a Connor that stepped up big this year, and and we'll see if he can continue the next year. Like you have a Juju Smith-Schuster, doing great things with Antonio Brown. So the question that I want to pose, like just as a general question, is it really a beef between Antonio Brown and Ben, or is it a beef between Antonio Brown and the coach, or is it beef between Antonio Brown and the Steelers organization? I think at the end of the day, it is coming down to the coach, because he is just not a very good coach at the end of the day. There should have been no reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers should have been in the situation that they were in, starting
I don't think
7-1
it's the coach,
or
though,
7-2.
Mike.
Okay.
I don't think it's the coach, and I'm going to say I don't think it's the coach because all those players always talk good about Mike Tomlin. Like they love him. Even during the only people that don't love him is the old Steelers players.
The power players, or just the older generation?
No. The old Steelers players. Those are the only people that really have something negative to say about Mike Tomlin. Nobody else has ever said anything bad about him. And even on this, from reading the report, it was reported that Mike Tomlin said that Brown was dealing with a knee injury, which is the reason why he missed practice. So I don't think a coach that you're beefing with is really going to go all out and take up for you twice. Remember, the first time Mike Tomlin was like, yeah, we know where he was, even though he didn't. This time he said, oh, yeah, he had a knee injury. That's why he's missing practice. You know, to your question, I think it's all three of them. Mine is the coach. I don't think it's Tomlin as much, but I'm just going to throw him in there because he's the face of the team. I think it's Big Ben. Like I said, this is not their first time getting in a spat this season. You know, he's had to answer questions about Big Ben or his comments toward Big Ben, you know, on different occasions this year. You know, that's why the infamous Wi-Fi comment came out, because he said we may not always be on the same page, but we're always connected, or we may not be whatever he said, but we're always connected. Him and Big Ben don't get along. You know, reading the report, it says in the report, he got mad and he told Big Ben he don't feel appreciated. From that moment, he didn't show up. Art Rooney, the president, was calling him. He didn't show up. Nobody even thought he was going to show up for the game. Instead, people were surprised that he showed up pregame with a fur coat on. That was it. So, yeah, I don't, you know, and a few years back when he was going through his contract situation, you know, he felt that he wasn't appreciated properly then. And the Steelers organization, quite honestly, really don't care. They almost like the Patriots organization. They got rid of some really, really good receivers for Antonio Brown. What they won't do the same thing for Juju Smith-Schuster. You know, they let some really Mike Wallace. They let Mike Wallace go in the prime of his career after he had one of the biggest years of his career because he wanted more money. See ya. The other, he played in, I can't remember his name. He played in Baltimore. They let him go. Why? You want too much money? See you out the door. I think when Antonio Brown missing practices, missing meetings, really don't care, ignoring the owner's phone call. I honestly fight with Big Ben, especially if Big Ben stay. Fight with Big Ben. I don't really see how that's a recipe to move forward.
Okay, so let's say Antonio Brown and Big Ben are. I mean, they obviously are not on the same page. I mean, they might be in the same book, but they're not on the same page. So, with Tomlin kind of covering up for Antonio Brown, do you think this looks bad on Tomlin at the end of the day, and like not holding Antonio Brown accountable for his actions? Because I think I think the biggest thing that you can do for a player is put a bad name out there for that player. So, you know, because public humiliation is worse than like a fine, like I think.
Yeah, but I think he was actually trying to help him, though. You know, I think actually throwing him out to the wolves would be saying, hey, I don't know where the guy's at. He ain't called me. Art Rooney's been trying to call him. Nobody seemed to be able to get him. I think that would have been throwing him out to the wolves. I think saying, hey, he's missing practice because he got a knee injury, I think that's a player's coach. And that's why I don't think it's Tomlin, you know, because guys like that. You know, people in the media like us, the people that talk about it all the time, of course we don't like it because we're like, what is going on over there? Like you're trying to hide something, and we don't like that because we need something to talk about. But if you a coach or you a player on that team, and Mike Tomlin's doing that for you, that's a player's coach. That's Mike Tomlin's biggest knack, that he's too much of a player's coach.
Yeah,
you know, so players like that.
Yeah, he might be a player's coach, but players' coaches are not winning you championships. So something has to change.
No, I agree with that. But I'm just speaking on the Antonio Brown situation.
True.
You know, I think he was saving Antonio Brown by saying he had a knee injury. And, you know, all over ESPN, because when you see it on ESPN, you automatically think it's real.
Yeah.
All week long, all I seen was Antonio Brown is getting tests done this day. He's getting tests done this day. So the general public thinking, oh, he's probably hurt. You know, he's actually hurt. ESPN reported it. And then it come to find out, no, Mike Tomlin was just covering for him, which is what you really kind of want your coach to do, instead of throwing you to the wolves, you know. Now, that's not a recipe for winning, which is the reason why I say I think he needs to get out of there. I think he had his time in Pittsburgh, almost kind of like Marvin Lewis. I think he had his time, and I think it's time to move on.
Okay, so just give me a few quick answers here. Does Mike Tomlin coach Steelers next year?
Yeah, I think so. I think he do.
Is Antonio Brown a Steeler next year?
I think so.
Is Ben Roethlisberger a Steeler next year?
if he doesn't retire, I think Big Ben is the only person that really gets to decide what he want to do. Out of all three of them, I think Big Ben is the one that gets to decide. If he doesn't retire, Big Ben stays. I only think Mike Tomlin and Antonio Brown will be there to start the season. I think both of them be gone by the end of the season, but I think they all start out as Steelers.
Do you think this would have been even a bigger story if the Steelers would have lost on Sunday without Antonio Brown?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, man. For sure.
All right here. So before we get into the last segment of today's show, it is Tuesday, Billy. It is the new year. So why don't we do some NFL over under reactions real fast, okay?
All right.
I'm kind of throwing a curveball at you here, but deal with it. So
deal with it.
Over under reaction. Blake Bortles has thrown his last touchdown, his last pass for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, that's an underreact. I think he has. I think he's done. That organization is in a mess. They're trying to get their team back. 1 year removed from an AFC Championship berth, possibly an NFL Super Bowl berth, and now this is where they at. Yeah, I think Blake Bortles is done.
Do they bring in a free agent, or they try to get a quarterback in the draft?
You know what? I said yesterday, I think the Raiders trade Derek Carr. John Gruden trade Derek Carr to the Oakland Raiders. To Jacksonville.
Maybe
I don't think that's his quarterback. I think he's going to try to get one in the draft and move on from Carr. He needs that trade value because he can't bench Carr. Once you bench Carr, the trade value goes way, way, way down.
Right.
You have to keep him up. So I think Carr will be on a new team. Jacksonville, he's seen the fit to build there.
Are you thinking like a Leonard Fournette for Derek Carr type of trade?
I'm not even sure if they're going to trade Leonard. If he can just be released, they better try to get it done now. But I definitely foresee at some point next year, Derek Carr being traded from the Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders, wherever they're going to be at next year.
Yeah, they might even be in Mexico or something. They don't know.
Yeah, I hear they're going to be playing at UNLV Stadium because, Oakland sued them, and the owner had already said, if you sue me, we're leaving, and They got sued, so they are leaving next year. Just don't know where they're going to be playing at or what they're going to be called. Who knows?
They'll probably be the Chinese Raiders by the end of next season. But, mate, Eli Manning turns 38 this Thursday, actually. He is scheduled to make $23.2 million, but the same question arises. Has Eli Manning thrown his last pass for the Giants?
I'm going to say overreaction, but I don't really even know if that's even true, honestly. Because part of me believes that they're going to get Dwayne Haskins, and they're not going to want to throw him out there in that fire right away. And I think Eli Manning will be able to get a few games in before they go ahead and make the switch. So, but I'm going to say overreaction because he is 38 and he did play so bad. Rookie quarterbacks come in right away and start day one. So, that's not like it's unheard of.
So I also would have took out a cop-out answer. So the answer that I would have and here it all depends on what the Giants do in the draft. Do they go draft a quarterback? Yes, he has probably played his last snap in a Giant uniform. If they don't, then he probably makes it through mid-year because I really foresee.
Mike, wouldn't they be the stupidest franchise to you? Wouldn't they be the stupidest franchise to you if they did draft a quarterback this year? How if you was a New York Giants fan and you missed out on a quarterback 2 years in a row, how would you feel?
Yeah, I would they did get a pretty good pick like this past year, but you definitely need.
But what did they get them?
Yeah, right. I look outside looking in at their fifth pick in the draft this year.
Yeah,
sixth pick.
Exactly. Well, they picked Saquon second, and now this year they fifth, I believe it is. Yeah, that's crazy.
So yes, they definitely do need to get a quarterback. Is the draft the answer? I don't know. There might be some free agent people out there, you have Teddy Bridgewater.
But you got to get somebody, Mike. Eli is bad. He's bad.
Even Foles or Wentz
you got to get somebody, Mike.
Yeah, so
I'll even take Bortles over Eli Manning right now. Just give me somebody that I can have a little bit of hope for. And the guy that we just paid $100 million in Odell Beckham or $90-some million in Odell Beckham,
right.
Let's try to get him the football.
I'm glad you brought up Blake Bortles here. I mean, like, yes, we think we both think he's done in Jacksonville. But do you think he can like rejuvenate his career somewhere else, like the Giants, kind of what Drew Brees did when he got hurt in San Diego and went to New Orleans?
Yeah, I think he can be a decent quarterback, and I don't think Blake Bortles is terrible. I just think he's not very good, and the fact that Jacksonville don't have anybody for him to throw the ball to. The casual fans don't know a D.D. Westbrook. The casual fans don't know these guys. The guy that they got from the Colts, nobody really knows him. So I think they never really fully helped him out on offense. They never really got him a decent weapon. I think playing for the Giants, listen, Odell Beckham, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, and you got Saquon in the backfield. If you mess up then, I don't think you deserve a shot.
Yeah,
but I think he just needs a new voice. He just needs a new team, just to be able to start fresh.
It's just like a fresh look sometimes is all what you need. And speaking of fresh looks,
exactly.
we are still talking quarterbacks here. Ryan Tannehill has thrown his last pass in a Dolphins uniform. Overreaction, underreaction?
I think that's an underreaction. I don't think he'll be the starter all year next year. I think they gave him many chances on top of chances. But I don't know where the Dolphins are picking, not exactly where they're picking at in the draft, or if they'll be able to get one of the top tier quarterbacks, the guy that's coming out of Duke, or the guy that's Jones out of Duke, or the guy that's coming out of Missouri, or Haskins. I don't know if they'll be able to get one of those guys because so many other bad teams are picking before them. But I think he doesn't finish the season as Dolphins starter.
There you go. Last one, Billy. Case Keenum has thrown his last pass for Denver Broncos.
Oh yeah, he's done. I think John Elway goes out and get a quarterback this year. He played this quarterback carousel. I think he's put in like 6 or 7 different quarterback combinations. Peyton Manning. I know he wants some stability back in that Denver Broncos franchise that he played for, won 2 Super Bowls for. I think John Elway gets it done. He pulls the trigger on the quarterback this year.
Well, and for John Elway, like Elway being such a great quarterback, that if you are a bad quarterback, you can get a contract in Denver as of late. So maybe Blake Bortles there or Teddy Bridgewater will.
Sounds about right.
So, Bill,
he's been going the cheap route, Mike, and I think that's why the Denver Broncos are struggling. Well, Peyton Manning, he's gone the really, really cheap route.
Well, they did offer Brock Osweiler a lot of cash before he went to Houston, and I mean, think about that.
Yeah, but
thinking about
Brock
that hindsight.
Osweiler.
Well, but I mean, like what Houston gave him, what $30-40 million or something like that. I mean, it was a lot of cash, and he chose to go somewhere else. So that kind of makes me question, is John Elway
He's not really a good GM.
Yeah, I mean,
so president, whatever he is. Most good players aren't. Look at Michael Jordan. He worst pick franchise ever, really, when you think about it.
Right.
Haven't got anybody in there since Kemba, really.
Yeah, I mean, with all that being said, the coaching firing is still hot and still happening. As of right now, teams that have fired their coaches as of the new year here at 10:19 a.m. You have the Cards fired their coach, Broncos are coachless, Bills, Jets, Cincinnati Bengals, the Browns, the Packers, and the Dolphins. Billy, if you were a first-year head coach, what is the most intriguing team that you would like to go coach?
I know this is going to sound, pro Cleveland, but when you look at all these teams that fired their coach today or yesterday, outside of the Packers, what is their quarterback situation? You got the Cardinals, you got Josh Rosen, who likes to throw the ball to the other team. I don't think that's beneficial. You got the Jets, with another quarterback, who led the league in interceptions. This guy missed 4 games in the middle of the season, and he still was leading the league in interceptions. And Sam Darnold, Adam Gates down there in Miami. We just talked about Tannehill, so that's not going to work. Obviously, then I said the Packers. The Broncos, do you really want that? They traded away everybody, really. Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders got hurt this year, so who knows how healthy he's going to come back. He's starting to get up there in age. So for me, I'm going to take the Browns. 7 wins this year. Could have been easily, Mike, me and you both agree. At least that 7-win season could have turned into a 9-win season. And who knows what we could have been playing for in week 17 right now.
Right.
A playoff berth.
I mean,
who would have thought that Cleveland Browns possibly could have been playing for a playoff berth in week 17?
Yeah.
Nobody imagined that.
Nobody.
You got Baker Mayfield. Yeah, you got Baker Mayfield, who just shot the rookie record for passing touchdowns with 28 in a season, and he didn't even start the first 2 games like a lot of these other quarterbacks that you see up there on that list. Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Cam Newton. Those guys started from day one, week 1. Baker missed 2 games and still was up there, close to 4,000 yards. That defense is really, really good. You have Higgins, you have Landry, you have Njoku, you have Chubb. This Browns team is a solid team, and we talked about it plenty of times before, Mike. That AFC North division, what would they be?
They are
still in turmoil.
Yeah.
Bengals is who knows. And then the Ravens got Lamar Jackson. When I think me and you both think when teams are able to prepare for it, they're going to have a whole offseason to prepare for it.
Yep.
We're going to see a hope to that. So if it's me, I'm looking to get into the playoffs. I'm looking to go with a team that I think I can mold, and I will go to Cleveland Browns.
And I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate everything that you're saying there. But I'm going to look at the other side of things. I'm going to look by picking a team from an organizational standpoint. You had the Cards, Denver, Bills, Jets. All fired their coaches after 2 years. The Cards just like a single year. So me being a first-year coach, I do not want to go to those teams because I know I'm on a short lease. I have a bad season, 4-12, 5-11. I could see my way out of there just because I'm trying to build a team. Then I look at a team like Cincinnati, the Browns, and the Packers. These are the most intriguing to me. But from an organizational standpoint, I think I'm going to go with Cincinnati because they stuck with Hugh Jackson for 16, 17 years, and they were all mediocre years.
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis. And they were all mediocre seasons. I think they made the playoffs twice under him, being knocked out in the first round every time. I think their highest win total was 10 in 1 year. So they are happy with being mediocre. Just as long as you're putting fans in it, fans in the seat and doing okay, they're going to keep you around. So you have a chance to bring in your guys, bring in your team, implement your defense and offense. So you have time to grow as a coach there, bring in your players, bring in your staff, etc. So, I mean, yes, their player standpoint right now is not very good, but the organizational side of things, they have faith in the guy that they bring in. So that's why I would want to go to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's true. Organization standpoint, I mean, listen, this guy Marvin Lewis is the epitome of mediocrity. Now, I will say this, that when he first took over that team, it really wasn't that great. That team really wasn't good. He's 0-7 in the playoffs. If any organization lets you stay that long without winning a playoff game, then yeah, from that standpoint, stability. But I like to win, and I don't like to lose.
Right.
And not saying the Browns are winners, but I'm just saying one team is trending upward and one team is trending down.
The Browns are winners.
If I'm looking for stability, no doubt. Give me the team that had their coach for 16 years that was 0-7 in the playoffs. And probably the only reason why they fired him because of public perception. I think if there was no social media, Marvin Lewis would probably still be the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like he felt like it was time for him to go. Maybe he just getting wore out and being in Cincinnati and just being that punching bag.
He endorsed Hugh Jackson.
Yeah,
he endorsed Hugh Jackson. Said Hugh should be the coach. So who knows? Hugh may be the head coach over at the Bengals.
So breaking news: Hugh Jackson is the new coach for Cincinnati, and Marvin Lewis is the defensive coordinator.
How did that work out? Just soon as I say that, that's crazy.
No, So,
but yeah, I think Hugh Jackson will probably get that job. I think there's a reason why they allowed him to come back on the staff.
yeah, definitely prepping for maybe next year and beyond. So, there are a lot of hot coaching candidates out there. You have the offensive coordinator from Kansas City Chiefs. You have the offensive coordinator from the Browns. You have Josh Daniels, another offensive coordinator from the Patriots. You also have Mike McCarthy out there. Who do you think is the hottest coach right now from those four, and what do you think they will end up landing up if they do take a head coaching job?
I think Josh McDaniels is probably the hottest coach. He's been highly looked at for years now. People have been trying to lure him away from the New England Patriots. One team did, the Broncos, I think, but he was young then. I don't think he takes anything stupid this time. But I think he is the hottest coach, and I think he will go to Green Bay. Tom Brady has declined. Me and you both have said that. So I think he knows the end is near. I think he go ahead and move on right now.
Do you not think he maybe waits out a couple more years in New England, and when Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are like on their way out, he doesn't step in and become that head head coach and kind of keep the Patriot way happening?
No. I don't think so, and I don't think so because that franchise between Bill Belichick and Tom Brady is already contentious. The reports has already been out there, and I think he leaves now before the end. Because once Tom Brady is not looking like Tom Brady anymore, is anybody really going to be wanting Josh McDaniels? I don't think so. So I think he knows that he needs to leave now while he can. And he knows Tom Brady's on the decline. Unless he knows they're going to go win a few more Super Bowls, and I don't think it's as clear anymore because I think there's a lot of good teams in the NFL. I think he goes and moves on.
All right, guys. So you heard that here first. Josh McDaniels to the Packers per Billy Hatton on January 1st, 2019. So, Billy, the NFL regular season has come to the end. I know we're getting close on time here, but the power rankings have come out for the quote-unquote final time of this season. Finishing out the top 10, you have the New Orleans Saints at number 1. Number 2, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. 3, you have the Los Angeles Rams. 4, you have the Bears. 5, you have the Chargers. 6, you have the Patriots. 7, you have Houston. 8, they have Baltimore. 9, they have Seattle. And 10, they have the Colts. Do you agree with this top 10? And if not, well, what would your top 10 be?
So who was number 1? Because I thought I heard
Saints.
you say the Patriots was number 1.
The Saints are number 1. Patriots
are
number 6.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I thought. I thought I heard you say the Patriots twice, and I was like, dang, they thought that they were that good. They wanted to put them twice.
They had the offense and the defense.
I definitely agree with that. I think the Saints. You said the Saints was 1. Who was number 2?
Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, you can flip flop Chiefs, Rams, Chargers. You'll just be splitting hairs. Honestly, all 3 of those teams have deficiencies or places that they lack at. So yeah, I have no problem with that. As long as the Patriots wasn't really top 5, because I don't know how you can look at that team and say they are top 5. So yeah, I like them right there.
Yeah, the only 2 that kind of really raise an eyebrow to me that I don't think that deserve in the top 10 is Houston Texans at number 7 and Baltimore at number 8. I would slide them down maybe 11 and 12, and like then I would bump Seattle up to number 7, bump the Colts up to number 8 there, and then the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles. They're both very solid teams that you guys have to look out for. So, like, I think they are better than the Ravens and the Texans. So that's why I would get those 2 teams up in the top 10 and bump out the number 7 and number 8.
Yeah, the Houston Texans. Excuse me. The Houston Texans is. I think they're a really good football team, but I think with that injury, I haven't read any reports yet coming out of Houston as of now. But with that injury last week, the wide receivers, you could probably slide them down. But I guess you really can't omit what they've done during the season. They had won 9 straight. That was a hot team. So I can see why they got them up there. But yeah, I can also understand your point or why you would shift some teams here and there. That Ravens team has won 7 of their last 8. or 6 of the last 7. That's tough. With a rookie quarterback to come in with the season on the line, the Ravens definitely deserves more credit than what people are giving them.
It is tough, but people do not have film on Lamar
It's because
Jackson.
of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
it's because of Lamar Jackson.
I mean, like, if you put that same stat, if they're in the same situation next year, Lamar Jackson will get shut down. They won't be in the playoffs. So
I agree.
That's why I'm bumping them down, because I think once the playoffs hit, yes, they're a very, very dangerous team. They are trending up, but they're not going to beat the Chargers in that first round game. But,
no, I don't think so either. I don't think so.
Well, guys, that is going to be it for today's show. Billy and myself are holding down the fort. Matthew should be back on Thursday, so we'll be back Thursday, guys. Same time, same place. Be sure to follow the Unpopular Opinion podcast. Billy, where can they find that podcast at?
The Unpopular Opinion podcast is on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you find your podcast at, pending on iHeartRadio. Join us today. We're gonna be live at 10:00. Me and my co-host OG Ross. So make sure you guys tune into the Unpopular Opinion podcast today.
That is 10:00 Mountain Time, 12:00 Eastern Time
noon.
for those guys on the East Coast here. So we will catch you guys next year, or next time, not next year. Enjoy the football games today, and we out.